Right. So I can see a lot of responses coming in. Teresa, okay. Divya Jha, thank you all. Thank you, Marty. I'm Adil from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. So we have a lot of people from all over the world joining us today, and that's really wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. Kamal from Europe, Sham from Delhi, from Nigeria. Hello, everyone. Hope you all have a good time today in this webinar. Nigeria, Los Angeles, Faridabad. Okay, so Kino, we have a lot of people joining us today from across the world, and really
You know, it's
wonderful.
usually a global learning community here at Simplilearn, so
Yeah,
that's not surprising.
yes, absolutely right. So thank you all for your responses. So what I'll do is now I'll quickly start the webinar. I'll just share my screen and just give me a moment and we can start today's session. All right. I hope all of you can see my screen right now. You can give me a thumbs up in the chat. Okay, all right. So once again, hello everyone. I'm Shweta and I'll be your host for today's session. Like you all know, today's session is on how to build AI assistants like ChatGPT and Copilot. So, without taking much of your time, I will quickly walk you through what today's agenda is like. So, firstly, we will start with how AI assistants like ChatGPT and Copilot have come to dominate the tech world, the rise of AI. Then, we will talk about the building blocks of AI assistants. Then we will go to the most interesting part of today's webinar, where Kino is going to walk us through a live demo on how to build an AI assistant. After that, we'll talk about your career path, as how to build your career path as an AI engineer, what skills and tools matter the most, and how the AI engineer program with Microsoft and Simplilearn can help you get there. So finally, we will close with a quick Q&A session with Kino. So if you have any questions, please make sure you to ask us in the chat and during the Q&A session. So we will be addressing your questions towards the end of today's session. Next, before we begin, we would also love to know more about you. So I will quickly launch a poll for you guys based on your experience with AI. Let us know your responses. Like which of these best describes you? Are you completely new to AI? Have you used ChatGPT and Copilot, or are you someone who uses these for projects or tools? So yeah, we can see a lot of responses coming in. So most of you are pretty aware of ChatGPT Copilot, so you played around with it. Great. All right. So that's wonderful. So I think this webinar is going to help each one of you in all of these aspects. I am going to quickly end the poll so we can dive into the session without wasting much time. And I will share the results with Kino as well, so he gets a good idea of our audience. So it's really nice to have you all. We really hope you guys get a lot of value from today's webinar. Before we begin, I will just tell you a little bit about Simplilearn and what we do. We have helped over 8 million professionals across 150 plus countries advance their careers with programs created in partnerships with more than 50 top universities and global organizations. So our focus is very simple. We want to give our learners hands-on, job-ready skills that will help them succeed in today's fast-changing landscape, right? And before we begin, just a few ground rules. If you have any questions, like I mentioned, please drop them in the Q&A box. We will be addressing them towards the end because we do not want to interrupt the flow of today's session. Feel free to use the chat to share any of your thoughts or experiences, but let's keep it focused on the session. And finally, stay with us till the end of the session because we will be sharing a form with you, which you can fill to receive your participation certificates. And you will be receiving your participation certificates within 24 hours of this webinar. And that brings me to the most exciting part. I'm really happy and excited to introduce our guest speaker for today, Keino Baird. Kino brings years of hands-on experience in building AI assistants and generative AI systems that actually solve real business problems, from chatbots and automation to intelligent content creation. And like you can see, he also has deep expertise in large language models and prompt engineering. He is also an AI education strategist who's passionate about helping professionals bridge this gap, and that also makes him the right person for today's webinar. I'm also really happy to tell you that Kino is also a mentor with us. So he will be able to help you understand all of the concepts that we talk about in detail, and also will be able to address all of your queries. So with that, it's a pleasure to have you on board today, Kino. I think it would be great if you could quickly introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey and experience with AI.
All right. So thank you, Sweeta. I'm really happy to be with you here today, and I want to welcome all of you to our session today. Simplilearn is a really global learning community, and I'm really happy to spend this hour with you talking to you about building AI assistants. So a little bit about my background. My background is as an educator, first and foremost, and then during my years in education, I made the switch over into tech, and that really began by flying drones and collecting data, and that led me to becoming a data scientist. And over the years, I continued building on my knowledge. Then, in the last 2 years, I began working with Simplilearn as an instructor. And I've had a lot of fun doing that, working with a number of students from all across the world. And also, outside of Simplilearn, I work in the field of education, particularly around professional learning. And with the rise of AI, that role has really moved into being an AI strategist in education. So that's a little bit about my background.
Thank you so much, Kino, for that wonderful introduction. I'm sure everyone is waiting to learn so much more from you through today's webinar. So before we begin, I think like all of us here can agree that the last 2 years, we've seen how AI has taken over. Like there has been a lot of improvements in the field of AI. So before we dive into the live demo, can you help us understand what sparked this massive wave of AI assistants and why it is happening at such a fast pace?
So over the last few years, we have definitely moved from what we say was a novelty, AI as a novelty, to really being a necessity. And it really shifts how we inform and how we build for impact, specifically in the marketplace. So over a very short window, AI assistants have really left the lab and they've entered the day-to-day workflow across various different roles, across industries and devices. So the pace in which we build our strategy should really prioritize the iteration and be able to give us good user feedback that's not long or any long speculative roadmaps. So we look at where AI assistants show the biggest return on investment um, for companies so that they can really sequence their features in and instead of being able to ship everything at once. And then we just want to also keep in mind that adoption isn't just about the quality of the AI model that you have, but it's really also about its usability, its security, its ability to meet your team's daily needs and daily rhythm. So as we go, we'll try to connect the technical choices that we make in terms of what we're using for any sort of tangible business or learning outcomes. So it's really clear why that the use of AI assistance really matter.
Right. That was great. I think that gave us a good idea of how AI has grown over these years. And that also brings us to the next question on the most basic idea of AI assistants, that those are the building blocks of AI assistants. So can you quickly walk us through what the building blocks are and how important these are for anyone who's considering building an AI assistant in today's times?
So in regards to building an AI assistant, you have to have a practical blueprint, that you can reuse across various different domain. So we'll look at a few steps in that process. That includes data preparation, being able to select our model, looking at the orchestration and frameworks that's necessary. And in terms of our deployment choices, we can see how all of these pieces evolve and all of these parts evolve independently. This modular view of it also reduces risk. So you can replace, let's say, a vector database or a model without being able to rewrite everything. And it really helps you to be able to pilot quickly, start with a minimal set of blocks and then harden and then be able to scale what is really valuable to your organization. So we want to also set some guardrails early rather than bolting them after maybe some sort of incident occurs. So you'll see where you'll be able to spend the bulk of time, whether it's your first month or first week or first month, and how these choices affects the overall cost of it. So just think of these building blocks as a reference architecture that you can maybe share with various stakeholders to ensure that everyone is aligned with the process.
Right. I think that was a complete breakdown of the building blocks of an AI assistant, and thanks, Kino, that actually made it more clear for us to understand how to go about this. And I think now we will have to cover it from the basics, and I'm sure everyone here is also curious to see how we build one live. And so that brings me to the most exciting part of today's webinar, also for which all of you have joined us today. So, with that, I think it's over to you, Kino. I am sure everyone is looking forward to learning on how to build an AI assistant live. So,
All
I'll
right.
quickly stop sharing my screen.
I
Just
thank you
give me,
and give me the opportunity to share.
yes.
All right. So I hope you're able to see my screen clearly.
Yes,
And
yes.
what we are going to be taking a look at um, what we are going to be taking a look at today. So what we are going to be building is I'm sure a number of you have heard the term RAG before, a retrieval augmented generation chatbot, and we're going to be focusing it around the Nestle HR policy document. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be giving you a walkthrough of all the requirements that's needed and really sort of kind of explain that along the way. So the overall idea here is that what this code is creating, it's creating an interactive Q&A chatbot that answers questions based on a specific PDF document, and that's the Nestle HR policy. So instead of just relying on the AI's general knowledge, it reads the provided document that we're going to feed into it, and it creates a searchable knowledge base from it, and it uses that to generate accurate context-specific answers. Okay, so this is a very classic and also a very powerful application of retrieval augmented generation or RAG. All right, so that's our quick goal here for today. All right, so we are going to begin by one setting up our database. That's the first thing that we are going to be doing. So this first cell block of code here, my import PSSQ Lite 3, what it does, it's just a workaround for a specific environment issue that's usually common in maybe some platforms like Colab. So it replaces the standard SQ Lite 3 library with a more compatible version. Okay, so this is necessary for the Chroma vector database so that it can function properly in the right environment. So while it might look a little bit cryptic, it's a very common fix for deployment environments. The Chroma or our database that we are using, it relies on SQLite, and this code just ensures that it uses the correct version to avoid any error or any connection errors later on. So if you're working in a local Python environment, this might not necessarily be needed. So that's our first cell block here. All right, and I'm going to run that. Oops, it went away from me. Let me get back up. All right. And then next, we are going to be importing all of the different libraries and dependencies that we are going to be needing. We're importing the main classes and functions from the LangChain library and any other necessary dependencies. So some of the key imports that we have here Chroma, and this is the vector database that will be used to store and search the content of our document. Then we have OpenAI embeddings, and this is a tool that we are going to utilize that will convert our text into numerical vectors or embeddings using OpenAI's models. All language LLMs, language models, they don't work with text, they work with numbers. So they're taking our text and turn them into numerical vectors. Then we have the recursive character text splitter. And this is really important for breaking the long PDF document into smaller, manageable chunks that it fits the AI's context window. Then we are gonna do some chat OpenAI and uh, retrieval QA. And these are some of the core components for the AI model and for the Q&A, the question and answer chain that really glues everything together. And then we also have our PDF loader that will load our documents, specifically our PDF files. So those are the key imports that we are going to be working and utilizing. All right, so I'm going to run those two cells. Moving on, we are going to import Chroma DB. And what this is, it's always just good practice to just check the library version. And this just helps with your debugging if you run into errors because certain features are version specific. So here we can see that we are using ChromaDB version 1.1.0. All right, moving on. We are going to now use our PDF loader, and we are going to read the document in that we are loading. All right, so that is the Nestle HR policy from 2012, and it's a PDF, and we're just loading that in so that our chatbot is not going out there and searching for any document. It has a specific document that it's reading, that it's digesting, that it's being able to answer our questions that we might have a little bit later on. So this is like the textbook for chatbot. And LangChain's loader handles the downloading the file and parsing its text and the metadatabase, so things such as page numbers for each piece of text. All right, and the document variable, it just holds this list of documents where each object represents a page from our PDF. So now we are getting into creating vector representations of our text. Okay, so if you've taken any maybe courses on linear algebra, You've talked about vectors. If you've taken any physics courses, you've probably talked about vectors as well. And anytime we're working with an AI model, what we need to do, we need to take any text that we have and we are now converting it into numerical representation. So we're processing the raw text into a format that the AI can efficiently understand and be able to search. And this is the retrieval part of RAG. All right, so it's taking and it's splitting the text and it's creating these vector databases, vector database. All right. Then our text splitter, what our text splitter does, it breaks down the long document pages into smaller chunks of about 1,000 characters. So you see our chunk size here is 1,000. And this is really important because AI models have very limited context windows. Then it initializes the embeddings, it sets the embedding models that will convert each text into chunks of a very high dimensional vector. From there, it creates the vector databases. And this is really core because it takes all the text chunks and then converts them into vectors. And it's using OpenAI's model. And then it's storing them in the Chroma vector database. All right. So this is really creating a, um, a highly intelligent index for the document. So instead of just searching for keywords, we are capturing the semantic meaning of every paragraph. Okay, so when you ask a question later on, it will find the text chunks that are semantically most similar to your question. All right, so that's creating vector representations. So we have our knowledge base ready. And now we are going to look at the brain that is going to help formulate our answers. All right, so we have our setting up our question answering system. All right, and what this is doing, it's constructing the complete question and answer system. So the LLM, okay, the large language model, we're using Chat OpenAI's model. It specifies the model, the AI language model that we are going to use that's going to help us to generate our final answers. If we take a look at the rest of the code, our retriever is going to connect the systems to our vector database. So for a question, it's going to fetch the most relevant chunk of text. And then our chain type here, this is just a very simple and common strategy where the relevant documents are, for lack of a better term, they're stuffed into the prompt and sent to the LLM. So this QA variable here is our assistant in essentially. All right, so you give it a question, automatically it's going to search the HR policy database. It's going to find the most relevant passages, and then it's going to instruct the model, the GPT model, to write a very coherent answer based on only those passages. So this prevents the model from hallucinating, and it really ensures that the model is efficient. It is efficient and accurate. All right. Moving on. So now we're going to define our prompt template. All right. So we're just creating here, we're creating a reusable template for questions, and it's going to just frame the AI's role. Okay. I'm uh, HR helpful assistant, and it just structures your queries. All right, the question placeholder is the placeholder that gets filled with the user's actual questions. So here, prompt engineering becomes absolutely essential. This template is really reminds us that of AIs and its overall identity and purpose, leading us to more of a professional and helpful response. So it's like giving an employee a very clear job description before they start to work. All right, let me run that. So now we have a very powerful engine running, but we have no interface. Okay, so we'll just build a simple, user-friendly web chat interface so anyone can interact with it. All right, so let me go through that code, and we'll be using Gradio for our interface. So you see a lot of things had to be um, installed there. All right, so here we are. And all right, so at this point, we have our interface. Okay, so we built our interface, and this is what's going to actually allow us to have a user interface and allow our code to run. Uh, it's very simple. It just okay, and a few if and else statements and activating Gradio, and then at the end we can actually launch our chatbot. All right, so let me run that. All right, I need to run here. All right, and you can see that we are running on a very public URL, but we also have a chatbot down here. I'm going to click on the public URL here. Let me know if you're able to see my screens. Sweat, are you able to see the...
Yes, I can see your screen here.
All right, so here is the quick user interface for our chatbot, and I'll just say hi, and it's going to say, hello, how can I assist you today? And I know it's the HR policy document for Nestle, so I will just ask it a few questions. Give me an overview of the HR policy. All right, so quickly here, it spits out a quick overview of the Nestle HR policy. I'll ask it one more question. What are some do's and don'ts based on this policy? All right, it gives me a list of some of the do's and some of the don'ts. And maybe one last question. Who can I reach out to for further clarification? All right, so you can reach out to the HR business partners for further clarification on all HR related matters. All right, so what we did today, we did for very basic, not too complicated. Clearly, you have to know how to connect all of the pieces. But what we did, we built a professional rack system that's able to load a specific domain knowledge from a PDF. We process it into an intelligent, searchable format. It's able to retrieve relevant information for each question, and we can see that it can generate accurate sourced answers, and we present everything through an intuitive web interface. So something like this can be adapted to any document, any sort of company handbooks, any maybe technical manuals, legal contracts. All simply what you have to do, you can just change the code, the PDF source in cell 6 that we had above, and now you have a blueprint for building a knowledgeable, transparent AI assistant for pretty much any domain. All right, and so that's all that I have in regards to the demo.
Yes, that's absolutely wonderful. It was really great to see this in action on live stream. And we also had a lot of queries while you were explaining, going through this. So, firstly, just to answer a few questions, we will be sharing the recordings with all of you. For that, you will have to fill up the form, which we will be sharing towards the end of the webinar. So, I hope that answers a lot of questions. And Kino, a lot of them wanted to. There was a question regarding the experience required. Can beginners work on this? Will a beginner be able to create an AI chatbot?
So there are some foundations that you definitely need in order to be able to get down. So clearly you see the library that we were working with is the Python library. So you have to have a little bit of knowledge around the Python library, being able to write functions, make API calls, and so on. So there is, I would say, about an intermediate level of knowledge in terms of being able to read and understand Python code. You should be able to know some Python in order to do this.
All right. And a few of them had questions regarding the code and if they will be able to access the code that,
I am not 100% sure if we are able to share the code because it might be some of Simplilearn's proprietary
yeah, it's
information. So I don't think that the code is going to be shareable. That's just my thoughts. That's a question that's a little bit above my pay grade.
okay, all right. So we do have to continue with a few more slides where we will be discussing more about this what Kino just demonstrated. So right now we actually saw you do it live, but it would be great if you can also quickly summarize the key steps that were involved in the creation for someone who is just starting from the basics to understand this better. So Kino, can you give us a walkthrough through everything so everyone can have a recap of what was covered during this webinar? A lot of them had joined in between as well, so it will really help them.
All right. So the first thing that we did, we were able to load our data set. Okay. And when you're doing this type of work, I often tell my students that when you're working as a data scientist, when you're working with any sort of data, 99% of it, well, not 99, about 80, 75 to 80% of it is being a functional janitor. Okay, because a lot of times what you are doing is cleaning and preparing data. So you always need to be able to have a good data set that you are working with. So being able to build a great AI assistant really begins with a curated corpus or a body of text. Okay, you're going to be able to pick the most relevant documents, what sort of questions you're going to be able to what you're going to be able to answer. You want to be able to do things like normalize the formats, think about the metadata that you are going to be doing. So this is the first step where you're one, gathering your data and cleaning it up so that it is usable. Some of the tools that we utilize today included pandas, well, clearly Python and pandas. We also use the Hugging Face datasets, or if you need any sort of ready-made datasets for quick experimentation. But the first thing that you always need to do is to get good, clean data, because if you get garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. You can move on to the next slide. All right, then you want to be able to choose the large language model that matches your task and any constraints that you are working with. So for example, you may choose GPT for breadth and tooling. You may choose Llama for cost control and maybe customization. You want to decide on whether you are doing any sort of maybe zero or few shot, if it's sufficient, or if you need to do any fine tuning before it overfits, before validating your retrieval and prompting. So you may also want to look at any enterprise controls. So you may have to consider tools such as Azure, OpenAI. Okay, so if you need any sort of local control, you might want to look at some more robust tools or some open source variants. But you want to be able to then evaluate real prompts. You want to measure things like accuracy, latency, so how long it takes before it spits back an answer, and even the cost per resolved task, okay? Not necessarily per token. Along here, you are also thinking of being able to track your model updates, if they can maybe change behavior, so that you can pin versions so that your reruns are evaluated clearly on any upgrade. So smaller, faster models often tend to win if your retrieval prompts are strong. And then you also want to have maybe a fallback model to maintain maybe during any outages or anytime there might be some limit spikes. But always treat your model as a replaceable component of any well-designed system. All right, you can move on. Then you want to be able to connect using some sort of framework. All right, so frameworks like LangChain or Llama Index, they act as the connective tissues, linking your data, your retrieval strategy, and the overall logic of your model. Okay, so they help you to really define pipelines for chunking, indexing, retrieving, and any post-processing answers. You want to be able to pair them with vector database that's going to be able to store your encodings and enable really fast semantic lookups. And you want to keep your chains modular. Okay, so you have separate retrieval, re-ranking, your tool invocations, and your answer synthesis. So you can maybe quickly be able to debug and try to swap out um, layers. But as your model grows in complexity, you want to be able to use configuration files to version your change so that you can compare variants maybe in some sort of A and B testing. All right. And then lastly, you want to build a conversational flow. And this defines the system prompt to set behavior, tone, and overall boundaries. Okay, so this acts as the product spec for your assistant. You want to be able to configure memory length and strategy. Short term for a few turns, or let's say summaries for a longer thread, to be able to keep the context coherent. You want to provide some sort of structured context, so like retrieve snippets and instructions for so that your model cites and that it stays grounded. Here, you also want to be able to maintain a library of prompt templates for uh, common intents, or your FAQs, maybe task executions, or things that you want to actually hand off to human beings. And then you want to be able to then test with some authentic user queries. All right. Here you might want to include some tricky or ambiguous queries, maybe some multi-turn cases to surface any failure modes really early and be able to capture any bad outputs and convert them into, let's say, a regression test, so that they're fixed over time. And then you then want to iterate small prompt edits, retrieval tweaks, or any tools that can really boost answer quality. So the overall goal here is conversational reliability, not just a good demo, but being able to have consistent performance. All right. And then lastly, you want to deploy with a simple user interface. So put a minimal UI around your assistant so that real users can try it. Here we use Gradio, but you can also use things like Streamlit, that gets you really a fast feedback without any heavy front end work. All right, so for maybe, let's say, production paths and so on, you want to maybe have a clean API via things like Flask or Fast API, just to secure it with any good authentication, rate limits, and logging. Okay, you want to always launch in a sandbox first and deliberately test edge cases. All right, maybe long inputs, unusual formats, any sort of maybe policy sensitive requests. But you want to then instrument everything: your latency, your cost per conversation, your retrieval hit rates, and then your user satisfaction to guide our future iterations. Ensure that you're adding some feedbacks so that users can flag wrong or unsafe answers, and then route those so that they can be triaged appropriately. And then you establish a rollback plan where you pin your models, configure your versioning and your releases so that they reduce the risk when updating prompts or indexes. All right. And then you want to finish here by closing the loop by retraining or refining prompts based on log failures. All right. So deployment is the very beginning of learning, not the end of it. So as your adoption grows, you want to harden your infrastructure, your caching, your retries, any sort of back jobs in the background, and then document your your runbook for any sort of on-call responders. All right. So that's a pretty much walkthrough of what we did.
Thank you, Kino. That was I think that gave us a good understanding on all the steps that are required on how to build an AI chatbot or an assistant and how to go about it. We do have a lot of questions. However, we will have to take these up in the Q&A because we have a few more slides to cover. And they also had one question I thought was relevant. So, can they use any other programming language other than Python for this?
Well, okay, so you probably can, but Python is the language of choice that we use in data science workflows, machine learning workflows, and AI. Okay, and I think it would, in about 80% of the cases, that's the language that's being used because it has great flexibility. It's very versatile. It can allow you to quickly connect with a variety of different interfaces and so on. So Python tends to be the language of choice, and it's very easy to learn, actually. It's just like reading English.
Right. I think that answered that question. So thank you so much for that. And now that also brings us to the next question. Now we actually went through the whole process. So can you help us understand how one can transition into a career as an AI engineer? What are the steps that are required, or anyone in the field? How can they transition into this?
All right. So, you want to definitely build your foundation. All right. That's the first thing I always tell my students. Sometimes they come into my class and they want to chill on the penthouse. And I say, we are not chilling on the penthouse. We are digging. And when you dig, you get dirty. Okay. So you have to get dirty. You need to learn Python. You need to learn the workflow. You need to learn you need to learn a bunch of algorithms. And I'm not necessarily saying learning and sticking it in memory. Okay, I'm saying learning the workflows and understand it. Okay, now we have AI to help us with a lot of our workflow, but you need to know what you're doing. You need to know the code that you are writing. All right, you need to be able to understand that code. So definitely one, build your foundation. Number two, master some AI tools and frameworks. Okay, so work with some large language models, work with lang chains and some vector databases. I'd say here, this is the part where you may want to build up on refresh a little bit on some of the math concepts that you learned in secondary and high school, some of your linear algebra, some of your calculus. You just want to have a good command of some of those things so that you know what you are doing. And then you need to learn how to deploy things, okay? And in between here, I'm going to say you have to work on your soft skills as well. Because guess what? You're not going to do this work in a bubble. You're not going to do this work by yourself. You are going to be doing this work in teams in most cases. Okay, so you definitely need to work on your soft skills as well. That's very, very important. So being able to collaborate effectively with your colleagues, being able to communicate effectively, being able to break down things that are very technical into simple language that folks in a C-suite are going to understand because they're not going to really care about the code that you're right. They're going to just want to know how what you're doing is going to affect their bottom line. So in between here, you're definitely going to work on your soft skills, but you're going to learn some deployment skills, and you learn this with other folks. Okay, you're probably going to be on a team and you're not going to be responsible for doing everything. I can't do every thing. Some folks specialize in the EDA aspect of it, the exploratory data analysis. Some folks specialize in building the models. Some folks specialize in deploying things, connecting all the pieces to make the workflow work. So definitely get some hands-on with some MLOps, APIs, and some cloud platform as well, because you're going to need to know how to wire and connect things. And build your portfolio. That's always important. So complete projects, do some capstones to show your expertise. Find your domain of interests, build data sets, and produce something. Be able to speak to it. My domain expertise is in education. So a lot of times the data sets that I work with and play around with are about education. Data sets. That's what I do. I am not trained in, I tell my students, I'm not trained in oil and gas. So I'm not going to go thinking about that area or that field. I stick to my domain. So your domain expertise is really important. So find data sets, play with data sets, and see what you come up with and build a portfolio so that you have something to speak to. You can move on, Siwa.
Thank you so much for that. That was a great explanation on how one can transition, and also it was a wonderful explanation of all the steps that one has to take when transitioning or considering a career in as an AI engineer. So now we would actually like to talk about how this program that at Simplilearn is going to help you in your career, if you are planning on transitioning in your career as a as an AI engineer. I will quickly tell you a few advantages that you have if you are considering this program with us. With Simplilearn's AI Engineer program, this is created in partnership with Microsoft. So you are getting a complete learning path that will take you from understanding AI to deploying real AI solutions. And as you have already seen, we have mentors like Kino in our program who will be helping you throughout your course and will be giving you guidance as well. You will earn a co-branded completion certificate from Microsoft and Simplilearn, and you will be receiving a Microsoft Learn digital badge. So this is something that you can showcase on your LinkedIn, and you can also share it with your recruiters. This also has a lot of value when you are considering getting hired for this position. One another feature that I would like to highlight here is that we offer 140 plus hours of live sessions. So you will be diving deep into topics like deep learning, generative AI, agentic AI, and a lot more. You will also get hands-on access to 17 plus tools, including Azure, OpenAI, Copilot Studio, and many more. There are Apart from all of these things, I think one thing that actually sets this course apart is that you will be working on 25 plus real world projects, and you will also have capstone projects. So like Kino mentioned in the previous slide, building a portfolio is very important, and that is something that we will help you do throughout the course. And it does not just stop there. We also have a lot of features and guidance from and mentor support throughout the course. And in the end, it will also help you prepare for Microsoft's AI 900 Azure AI Fundamental Certification, which is a great credential to showcase your foundational experience and expertise in the field as well. And this will probably help you transition in a much more smoother way. Now, talking about the curriculum, there were a lot of questions about what we cover during the program and who can join. So, anyone above 18 years of age can join the course. It is recommended to have some basic understanding of Python, but if not, you can definitely take that up as you start the course. So, I'll just walk you through what the curriculum covers. So we start from the foundations with Python for AI because, like Kino mentioned, Python really is the language of modern AI, and it's very easy to understand and learn even for beginners. From there, you will move on to applied data science with Python, where you will start understanding how to collect, clean, and visualize data. Then we will go a step deeper into machine learning using Python, where you explore algorithms, model training, and predictive analytics, and a lot more. So next up, after all the basics and the foundations, you will be diving deep into deep learning specialization. So this is where you will start working with neural networks and architectures. So these are like the backbone of AI assistants like ChatGPT. And after that comes the Microsoft Azure AI fundamentals. So this will prepare you for a globally recognized certification from Microsoft, and it will also help you understand how AI is applied in enterprise environments. And finally, we close with generative AI literacy. It is all about working with large language models, prompts, tools that will help you build your own generative AI driven applications, and so on. So, this is a quick recap or a quick summary of the curriculum. Like I mentioned, Kino as our mentor. So, Kino, can you also let us tell our audience how this can probably help them? How this curriculum can help them understand the whole core process, and also for beginners, how this can probably benefit them while applying for jobs, while considering a career transition. I think you would be the right person to
Well,
explain
I
this.
think thank you, Sweta. One, I think it helps you um, build your knowledge base clearly. Okay, a lot of times I have students coming into my class and they don't know anything at all, and I'm impressed by the time that they are getting ready to leave. And I think the program is really designed for beginners. But also, if you have a background, a technical background, it's also designed for you as well. And it's the program is very incremental. And I think the curriculum right here really describes that incremental aspect of the program where we start off, just writing little Python functions, learning the language, understanding data structures, and so on. And then we move into the data science workflow, understanding the workflow, the getting dirty part that I was talking to you about. This is my actual favorite part about I love the data science piece where we spend a lot of time understanding data, visualizing data. Then we begin to move into the machine learning aspect of it, where we are going to up our knowledge on algorithms and so on. And then to get to the deep learning aspect of it, you're going to go deeper with the algorithms that you've learned. You're going to learn about when models overfit, how to prevent that, how to ensure that your model is not latent, how to make sure that your model isn't overfitting or underfitting. You're going to learn all about that. So the course gives you the vocabulary that you need to understand the workflow for you to go and operate in any technical environment, Sweater. All right, and then it finishes off with the Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals program to prepare you for that specific certification. And then doing some generative overall AI literacy. It's important to know how AI function, how it works, and sometimes the ethics behind it. I think that's essential as well.
Thank you for sharing that, Kino. I think that gave everyone an understanding of what they can expect, how this program can help them, and that was really insightful. So I will also like to talk about your learning experience at Simplilearn, what you can expect if you join for the course. You will have peer-to-peer engagement. So you have a Slack community where learners, mentors, and program managers interact there daily. You can ask your questions there, share your progress, and even connect with peers who are working on similar projects. We have a flexi learn model, which means that in case we have live interactive classes, in case you miss out on those classes, you will also be receiving the recordings. And like I mentioned before, there are mentoring sessions, which are also one of my favorites. So these are one-on-one or a small group sessions where mentors will help you with projects, clarify concepts, and give you direct feedback. And this can be really beneficial while opting for any course, because how can you grow unless you receive good feedback, right? Plus, you have a dedicated cohort manager who will guide you throughout the entire program. So if you are ever stuck anywhere with your assignments, deadlines, you can always reach out to them and they will be more than happy to support you. Apart from that, we also have some career support features. So we have, like I mentioned, there is group mentoring and networking. We also help you with interview preparation and assessment. So there is tailored assistance that our team will provide you. And you will also be receiving AI-powered profile optimization. So we will be leveraging some AI tools to help you help with your resume and also work on your LinkedIn profile as well. So before the course gets completed, we will also be having mock interviews and mentoring for you, so you can perform well on your interviews and be better prepared for anything that comes out there. Post that, I would like to talk about on the screen, you might be able to see some of our success stories from our alumni. So these are from students who have completed this course with us. So you can definitely see what they are talking about. So this is their first-hand experience. And with that, without wasting much of your time, I saw a few questions about the course fees, and the course fees for the Indian learners is rupees 99,990, and you have the option to pay in installments. So this will be as low as 4,477 per month, and for US learners the course fee is $1,999, and you will also have the option to pay in installments as low as $200 per month. I have also shared the course link in the chat, and I will be sharing that once again. So you can actually take a look at the course and what the course offers. The next cohort is actually starting on 25th of October. This is for 6 months. This program is for 6 months, and the program induction will start on 9th of October, which is just 2 days away. But the regular start classes will start on 25th October. We also have the flexibility of weekday classes and weekend sessions, so you can choose that as per your convenience. For which I will quickly tell you the enrollment steps for anyone that's interested in the program. This is pretty simple. You just have to fill out the application form, and our admissions team will connect with you to guide you through the details. And then you can complete your enrollment and secure your spot in the upcoming batch. So this is a pretty straightforward and easy process. So what I will do is I will quickly launch a poll. If you're even considering this course, or if you have any queries regarding the course, you can click on on a yes, and our counselors will reach out to you and will get all of your questions answered. I do get this question a lot. This by clicking on a yes, this does not mean that you already get enrolled for the program. This is just for us to reach out to you and help you with any of your questions. So I will be quickly launching a poll, and you can click on yes if you are interested. Please do go through the course details. The link is there. I hope all of you have received the link, and you can let us know if you are interested, and our team will reach out to you very soon. By tomorrow, you can expect a call from them. And I would also like to open up the session for questions now, because we have a lot of queries, especially for Kino. I will just Okay, so again, I can see a lot of questions regarding the certificate. So, like you can see, I just launched a poll for your interest. I will launch another poll for the certificates, in which you will just have to fill up your full name. And once you have filled up your full name, you will be receiving your certificates within 24 hours. Our team will be sending this to you via mail. You will also receive the recording and the slide deck for today's webinar. So, I hope that answers a lot of your questions. Okay. So all right, everyone, if you have any questions, Kino, actually, I have a few questions for you. Um,
Sure.
uh, s- yeah, so one question is how to study different types of AI tools. Can you please suggest an idea on how to study these questions, to get to know about more AI tools?
So a lot of there, I mean, there are tons of AI tools that are out there. The best way is by practicing. Go on, don't pay for it. Use the free demo. Use the free demo for as long as you can. Watch YouTube videos of other folks using it. That's the best way. I would suggest that you can learn some of the AI tools. Then you're gonna find the ones that you like. Okay. For those that you like, you're gonna then maybe say, okay, I probably want to subscribe to this because it's helping me to do the things that I want to do. It's helping me accomplish the things that I want to do. So by utilizing the demos, okay, and trying the demos, you're not gonna get the full package, but at least you have an understanding of how they work.
Right. That also brings me to another question. So it's by Athar. He says, I have already cleared data analysis Power BI certifications. Can I get any benefit of diving into this course?
Well, that's a good background. To know, I think the next level would be the part of interest that would be the part that would be most interesting to you is the part on machine learning and deep learning, which is really helping you to understand where does AI fit into this entire ecosystem. And I think that's a good background to enter this program with.
Right. Okay. So we have a similar question. So what's the career growth using these skills? Like, say, what are some job roles that they can get once they complete this certification?
So I think that you can do a AI engineer, machine learning engineer, for example, a data scientist, applied data scientist, and so on. And then there's a career ladder. You're gonna probably start off at a junior entry level. Then maybe over after 2 years, you're gonna definitely do a lot of learning
Right.
on the job, and you're gonna progress through your career. But I would say, AI engineer, a large language model engineer, machine learning engineer, data scientist, and so on.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that answer. And a lot of people are asking us if they need a background in AI for this course. And there's a specific question. My background is MSc Information Security, studied in UK. Can I join this AI skill certification if my background study level is information security?
Like, I think all backgrounds are equally welcome. I think the program really caters for folks who are at the beginner level, and you may be at the intermediate level skill-wise, like this person who has that MSc in information security. Um, but I think that's an acceptable background. Even if you're an English major, I think that's an acceptable background as well.
Yeah, yeah. Like Kino said, you can be from any background. This is also for beginners, so you can definitely join the course despite your background. This is also an option for you to transition into AI as a Microsoft AI engineer. We also have a few questions about how this course is different. I think we did mention a few points on how this course is different, and I think one thing that sets this course apart from all the other courses out there is also the capstone projects that you will work on and the hands-on experience that you are going to receive working on case studies and being able to deploy the knowledge that you get out of the course. That is one thing I think that can add to your portfolio and help you land a better job and also give you a lot of advantage while you are out there looking for new opportunities out there. So with that, I will have to quickly end this poll. And in case you are interested, you can also go check out the page and you will have an option to enroll for the program over there. I will now, a lot of people are asking me about the certificate. So I am quickly going to launch the certificate poll while we take a few more questions that you may have. Like I mentioned, please fill up your full name and we will be sharing the certificates with you within 24 hours. And I'm going back to the questions if there are any. You can, how many? Oh, okay, so for entry level role, what is the work? So there's a question. So for entry level role, what is the workflow?
So for the entry level, you might be, doing some implementation of some well-scoped task. You may be doing some fine-tuning or maybe wiring up a model, writing some tests, being able to follow some playbooks and so on. I think that's probably would be some of the job spec of an entry level.
All right, I think that answers that question as well. I got another question regarding the recording. Yes, we do provide the recording and the slide deck. You will be receiving that along with the email as well. So this is how our program completion certificate is going to look like. Like I mentioned earlier, you will receive a Microsoft Learn digital badge, which you can share on LinkedIn, and this can also add to your credentials. So I hope all of you had a wonderful session. So before we conclude, we would like to ask you how confident are you to get started in your learning journey? We would really appreciate your responses in the chat. Uh, and we really hope that session was really informative. Now, I think we have come to the end of the session, and before we conclude, and we have like 30 more seconds for the poll, so please go ahead and give your responses there. I would like to take this time to actually thank Kino for being a guest speaker and also for giving and delivering such a wonderful, informative session for everyone out there. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sure each and every one of them who's joined this session did too. So, Kino, before we close the session, I would like to know if there's any advice that you would like to share with all the participants of today's webinar.
All right, I would say be open to learning. Like at my core, I'm a teacher. And the way we've learned 20, 30, 40 years ago is different from the way we are learning today. So we have to be open, we have to embrace new things, and we have to be open to unlearning things that we've learned before in order to be successful going forward. And we want to embrace AI from the perspective of not that it's going to replace people, but it's going to help us become better critical thinkers. It's going to help us do more, and it's going to help us solve greater problems.
Thank you, Kino. That was wonderful advice. It was really, really nice to have you, and we really hope to have you in many more of our webinars. I would also like to take this time to thank each one of you for joining today's webinar. Please do check out the course page, see if it's beneficial for you, and if it is going to add value for you, please opt for it as well. I really hope to see you all in the upcoming webinar. So until then, I hope all of you have a great time. Thank you all for joining in.